Ed Kemper was 6 feet 9 inches, over 280 pounds, a man impossible to ignore. And yet, people trusted him. Police officers drank coffee with him. Neighbors waved. College students felt safe around him. He was calm, charming, articulate. He could walk into a bar full of officers and leave them laughing, joking. That was the terrifying part. He didn't look like a monster. He looked like someone you could trust. Born in 1948 in California, Ed grew up with a tense, controlling mother. She belittled him, dominated him, at times locked him in the basement. By his early teens, Kemper already had violent fantasies, but also an ability to observe himself, analyze himself, a trait that would make him uniquely calculating. In August of 1964, in the quiet mountain town of North Fork, California, 15-year-old Edmund Kemper was spending time at his grandparents' rural home. By most outward appearances, Kemper was an intelligent but troubled teenager. He had a history of disturbing behavior and a strained relationship with authority figures, particularly women in his life. On the afternoon of August 27th, while inside the house with his grandmother, Maddie Kemper, something shifted. Kemper retrieved a .22 caliber rifle. He shot his grandmother inside the home. Later that day, when his grandfather returned from grocery shopping and pulled into the driveway, Kemper went outside to meet him. He shot him as well. Afterward, Kemper reportedly called his mother and calmly told her what he had done. Authorities were contacted, and he was taken into custody without resistance. When questioned, Kemper later claimed he had killed his grandmother because he wanted to see what it felt like. He said he killed his grandfather so he would not have to discover his wife's body. At just 15 years old, Kemper was deemed mentally disturbed rather than criminally responsible in the traditional sense. Instead of prison, he was sent to a state psychiatric facility, where he would remain until the age of 21. Few could have predicted that his release would mark the beginning of a far darker chapter. Inside, Kemper observed the staff, corrected them, learned psychiatric language. By 1969, doctors declared him rehabilitated. At 21, he was released, and the real horror had only paused. After release, Kemper tried to join law enforcement, but failed due to his size. He frequented bars where police officers gathered. They nicknamed him Big Ed. They joked with him. They trusted him. Meanwhile, his violent urges simmered below the surface. Between 1972 and 1973, Kemper murdered multiple young women, including college students he picked up while hitchhiking. His dark fantasies, which he had so convincingly suppressed, resurfaced with terrifying vengeance. In May 1972, Kemper's true nature fully re-emerged. He began targeting female hitchhikers in the Santa Cruz area, young, trusting, unaware of the predator hiding behind a friendly face. 3 of these students were Cynthia Ann Cindy Shaw, 19. She was hitchhiking near Santa Cruz when Edmund Kemper picked her up. Rosalind Heather Thorpe, 24. Another young woman alone, another victim in Kemper's growing pattern. Allison Helen Liu, 23. She was among the final victims in that horrific series. Each disappearance, each death drew law enforcement closer to a chilling truth. Kemper lured these students under the guise of friendliness and trust. Once alone, he attacked and killed them. He exerted control over their lives, the control he never had as a child. Sometimes, he dismembered the bodies. He described these acts later, calmly, analytically, with chilling detachment. When asked why, he said, "It was about control and understanding what I was capable of." Kemper's resentment toward his mother, Clarnell, had festered for decades. On April 20th, 1973, his long simmering rage boiled over. He murdered Clarnell with a hammer, dismembered her body, and engaged in unspeakable acts of humiliation. That same night, he invited his mother's best friend, Sally Hallett, over for dinner. In a final act of grotesque defiance, he murdered her too, to prevent her from discovering his monstrous crime. Afterward, he dismembered his mother's body. He didn't flee. He called the police himself, calmly, without panic. "I killed my mother. I want to turn myself in." He waited for officers to arrive, explaining everything, calmly, almost politely. "I killed my mother. I killed the girls." No panic, no remorse, only observation, explanation. In interviews, Kemper speaks calmly, clearly, dissecting his actions, explaining his motives. He doesn't dramatize, he doesn't plead. He analyzes himself, his impulses, his actions, with unnerving clarity. Ed Kemper is terrifying, not because he was chaotic, but because he understood himself. He studied his impulses, perfected his methods, and could explain it, calmly, on camera. His ability to observe, to plan, to articulate his crimes, makes him one of the most infamous serial killers in history. Ed Kemper didn't hide. He didn't flee. He studied himself, perfected his methods, and revealed it all, calmly.